Hi guys, it's Rushmina and welcome back to the Peppy podcast. Welcome. Today we have our guest Olivier Mankondo who's joining us to speak about plant-based nutrition. Welcome, Olivier.
Thank you very much for having me, Rushmina. I'm really, really grateful to be on your show.
We're very happy to have you. So, Olivier, can you tell us about how you got into this whole nutrition journey?
Yes, so what's happened is that I grew up in Africa. So at the time when I was growing up, there was no computer games, there were no video games. So we were forced to play outside, running around, climbing trees, playing football, and all these things. And so we were always in movement. And I was not exposed to too many animal product, dairy product, and processed food. So when I was growing up, I was very lean. There was no problem at all. My problem started only when I left my country. I went first to South Africa, and then came to the UK. And that's when my problem started because I was exposed to a lot of animal product, a lot of processed food, a lot of dairy products. So, for example, at all meals, I would have some kind of animal product. For example, in the morning, I will have maybe salami, ham, bacon, sausages, and stuff like that. And I will have too many dairy product like ice cream, cheese, milk and stuff like that because we've been told that we need the milk to have calcium and stuff. So I was really, really having too much of that. And that's why my health problem started. And at my heaviest, my weight was 100 kilos. And I starting to suffer from a lot of chronic diseases. And one of them was high blood pressure. And high blood pressure is a very dangerous disease, and people should know that 50% of people suffer from heart attack, from strokes, and from kidney problems. It's because of high blood pressure. So I was suffering from that, and I even remember there was a day when I was waking up in the 3 a.m. with a sharp pain in my chest because of that, and my wife had to call the ambulance, and when they came, they took me to the hospital, and they told me that my blood pressure was through the roof. So that one of the chronic disease that I had, and I was also suffering from massive headaches every day or every other day. I had to have some headaches. So in fact, I had to have some painkillers in my wallet all the time because of that. I was suffering from dandruff, chest pain, back pain, abscesses, and a lot of dental problems because of my bad eating habit. So usually around midnight, I will still have something to eat. I will have my bottle of Coca-Cola with some biscuits, some cakes, and stuff like that. So too many dental problems. And as well, I was always tired. So, for example, on the day that I had to go to work, I will drag myself out of bed. And on the day where I was off work, I will sleep until 1 p.m. So basically, that's the condition in which I was. And the doctor told me that I'll be on medication for the rest of my life. And I was completely lost. I didn't know what to do. So that's how I get into this nutrition stuff.
And how old were you at that time?
When I started this process, I was 46. Today I'm 54. Yeah, that's when I started that. And basically what's happened is that when the doctor told me that I'll be on medication for the rest of my life, I refused. I said, no, I can't go on medication. And he said, why? I said, I found it really bizarre to go on medication for the rest of my life. So I refused. And he said, what are you going to do? I said, okay, I'm going to join a martial art club so that I will try to get my blood pressure down. So I went and joined a karate club. I was there for 4 years, but my blood pressure didn't budge. There was no changes. So what's happened is that there was out of the blue, one day I was just watching YouTube, and there was an Indian yogi who suggested that by stopping eating animal product, it was possible to reverse 70% of the chronic diseases. And because my health was pretty bad, I said, okay, I'm going to try that. So it was a Wednesday that I watched the program. On Thursday, I came back from work. I had my last meal of meat. And on Friday, I went cold turkey. And what happened is that after 4 months, I went back to the same doctor who told me that I will be on medication for the rest of my life. And my blood pressure was completely gone. And after 9 months, I was able to lose 35 kilos.
My
And all
God.
my chronic diseases were completely gone. And the benefit of that as well is that I've been able to slow down my aging process, because a lot of people, when they see me, they think that I am in my late 20s, but just like I've told you, I'm 54 now.
So, when you mentioned that you went vegan, were you following a very strict and healthy diet, or were you eating everything in the vegan category?
Yeah, so what people need to understand is that when you are vegan, yes, there are a lot of processed food, a lot of vegan processed food. And unfortunately, when you eat all this vegan processed food, it's going to make you sick. So I always ask people to maybe eat that as a transition food if they cannot stop the animal product, the dairy product, and all that straight away. They can use the vegan processed food as a transition food. But for me, what I tend to eat is whole food, which is fruit, vegetables, legumes, grain, nuts, and seed. I eat very little of vegan processed food, and that's why my health is pretty good. And that's why for the past 8 years, I've not been sick a single day, not even a headache. And for the past 9 years, I've not taken a single pill, not even an aspirin or a paracetamol. That's the level of health that I've been created by just eating whole food.
And are you able to explain to me why that's happened? Because you're a nutritionist. So what has changed in your body to make this possible?
Yeah, so what's happened is that when you start eating, when you eat the wrong food, like the animal product, the dairy product, and the processed food, your body will go through a lot of bad situation. For example, when you eat animal product, what's going to happen is that when we look first, before saying that, when we look at the bowel transit time, which is the time that the food takes to pass through our system. So, for example, if you eat a piece of fruit, it will take 3 to 4 hours to pass through our system. If you eat raw food, it's going to take around 12 hours to pass through our system. You eat cooked vegetables, it will take between 24 and 30 hours to pass through our system. But if you eat meat, fish, or chicken, it will take 72 hours or 3 days to pass through our system. So meat passes through the system very slowly. That's why you will see that carnivores, they've got very short intestines. Fruit and vegetables pass through the system very very fast. That's why human beings and herbivores have got longer intestine. So, for example, if you take a piece of meat and you leave that outside during the summer for 3 days, when you come back, you will see that piece of meat will be in a rotting state. You will see maggot, you will see flies, and it's going to stink. So when you look at the internal temperature of a human being, it's 36 degrees centigrade, which is hot, even more than a summer day. So when we eat meat, the same rotting process will happen inside our guts. And that's why you will see a lot of people smell bad, or they've got bad breath. They can brush their teeth as much as they want, but that odor is not going away. And apart from that, meat has got no fiber, and it creates constipation. You will see some people will spend 3 days, 4 days, even a week without going to the toilet. And this will create a lot of problems, because all the toxin, all the fecal matter will be reabsorbed into the bloodstream. And that's why a lot of people will start suffering from high blood pressure, diabetes, cancer, Alzheimer, Parkinson, arthritis, and all the autoimmune diseases where the body destroys itself, like the inflammatory bowel disease, the lupus, the psoriasis, the rheumatoid arthritis, and all these things. But when you start eating fruit, vegetables, legumes, grain, nuts, and seed, all these food, they've got lots of energy. They've got vital energy because they are not dead food compared to the animal product. For example, when an animal dies, the rotting process starts immediately. But for example, if you've got a banana, before the rotting process starts, it will take maybe a week or 2 weeks. So you can see that this food are living food. And when you eat those food, it's going to give you vital energy. And apart from that, the fruit, the vegetables, the legumes, the grain, nuts, and seed, they've got fiber. And this fiber will, first of all, clean your digestive system, because most of the diseases start in the digestive system, but the fiber will clean your digestive system, and they will make you full very quickly, and you will tend to eat less frequently, and that's why people will be able to lose weight and to achieve optimal health.
Okay, so how would you suggest that someone transitions from a meat-eating diet to a plant-based diet?
Yeah, so what people need to do is to do that slowly, not like me, because for me, like I said, I went cold turkey, and that's not the right way to do it, because I remember when I did it, the following week, my health got worse. For
Mm,
3 days, I had massive headaches that I've never had in my entire life. I
mm,
had more cold sore on my lips. My jaw starting to ache even more. And I even remember my wife asked me to stop, but I was adamant. I said, no, I'm going to continue. And then after a week, all these detox symptoms disappeared. And
mm,
what people need to understand is that when you start eating fruit, vegetables, legumes, grain nuts, and seed, your body will find a lot of energy. And what will happen, the body will go through your tissues and will start extracting all the toxins and dump that in your bloodstream so that it can get expelled from your system. And while the body is doing that, you're going to get sick. And for most people, they will say, oh, no, it's not working. It's not good to eat fruit. It's not good to eat vegetables. And they will revert back to what they used to eat. And the body will stop that process, and they will think that, yes, it's the fruit, it's the vegetable which are bad. It's not good for the human mechanism. But what people need to understand is that's the way the body detoxify itself. So that's why I don't advocate for people to go cold turkey. I will ask people to go very slowly. So they introduce the changes very slowly. For example, if you are used to eat animal products 7 days a week, maybe what you can do, you can continue to eat animal product for 5 days, and for 2 days you stop. And you start introducing this thing very slowly. And then maybe after 2 weeks, you get down to 4 days. So that's how people need to introduce these changes. And for people who can't really stop animal product, maybe they can start eating the vegan fake meat, like the tofu, like the tempeh, like all these things, just to keep them on track. And at the end, basically what will be good for them is to completely stop with all animal product. But if they cannot really stop that, what they can do is they can eat maybe 2 days a week animal product, and they need to eat a very small portion and use that as condiment. That's the way people can do the transition if they want to get into this plant-based nutrition.
mm. And after you switched into a plant-based diet, have you ever had cravings or thought of going back to meat?
For me, no, because the way I've always been, when I take a decision, it's difficult for me to go back. So I didn't have all these cravings because what I've been able to do is that I've find a good reason for me to stick on this process. Because I remember when I was suffering, for example, from the flu, I would stay in bed for a week. I would have my joint will start aching. I would have banging headaches. I would have cold in my. I will be full of cold, and I didn't really want to go back to the same feelings anymore. And that's what that kept me on track. So I don't remember one day having those cravings and stuff like that. But for example, if I want to eat chocolate, instead of going to buy the chocolate made with cow's milk, I'll buy the vegan chocolate. Or if one day I would like to eat the ice cream, instead of going to the ice cream made with cow's milk, I'll go with the ice cream made with vegan ice cream. So there's always something that you can do if you don't want to eat the food made with cow's milk or the animal product and stuff like that. There's always an alternative. And basically, for me, I've never had those cravings.
Hmm. And do you think that cow's milk is a problem?
Yes. For
Please
example, when you
elaborate. Yeah.
look, yeah, when you look at the cow's milk, we are the only species in the entire creation to drink milk from another species. You will never ever see, for example, a cat drinking dog's milk or a goat drinking cow's milk, because every milk is specific to its own species. And what do I mean by that? When, for example, you look at the rabbit milk, it contains 10 times protein than the human milk. And why is that? It's because when the baby rabbit is born, it's so small that it needs to double its size within the first week if it wants to sustain life. You look at the seal's milk, it contains 40% fat because the baby seal needs to build up fat very quickly because it's very cold in the North Pole. You look at the human's milk, it contains lots of casein. It contains lots of albumin, lactalbumin, because we need to produce amino acid. You look at the cow's milk; it contains lots of casein. So you can see that every milk is specific to its own species. And when the baby calf is born, it weighs 30 kilos. So within 3 months, you need to triple that weight. That's why in the cow's milk, you've got loads and loads of growth hormone and loads of calcium. And when we drink cow's milk, our body will see that we've got too much calcium. And when we go to urinate, we're going to lose that excess calcium to the expense of our own calciums. And when you look in the cow's milk as well, you've got too much phosphorus. So again, our body will have to neutralize that phosphorus. And to do so, it's going to leach out the calcium from our bones, our teeth, and our muscles. And that's why a lot of people will start suffering from osteoporosis, which is a condition which makes your bone brittle, and you start suffering from the inflammation of the joint. And you will see that in the countries where the milk intake is very high, you will see a high incidence of osteoporosis as well. And something as well, you will see that in the entire creation, you will see that human beings are the only species who drink milk when they're adult. You will never see any grown animal drinking milk. There's an enzyme which is called lactase, which enables people to digest milk. So when we reach the age between 2 and 4 years old, that enzyme ceases to be produced, which is suggestive that we need to stop drinking milk. And what people need to understand is that 70% of the world population is lactose intolerant. And when I say lactose intolerant, it doesn't necessarily mean that people will start suffering from severe allergic reactions. No, it can manifest itself in a subtle way, such as chronic fatigue, chronic inflammation, digestive problems. And now I'm going to give you a list of diseases created by dairy product. You've got anemia, ear infection, eczema, asthma, osteoporosis, cancer, obesity, appendicitis, and the list goes on. And when we drink cow's milk, boys and girls, we go through puberty at a very early age. And when they go through puberty at a very early age, the body will start producing estrogen in excess. And an increase of estrogen is linked to cancer. And that's why later on in life, these girls will start suffering from breast cancer, uterus cancer, ovarian cancer, and for boys, it's going to be prostate cancer. So you can see that the dairy products are not designed for the human mechanism. You don't have to drink milk. You don't have to use all these dairy products because they are not conducive to good health.
So if one was to take away their cow's milk and substitute that, which one would you say is the most nutritious milk alternative? Oat, almond, soy? Which one would you recommend?
I would recommend all of them. Just you will love just to see the taste, because everyone is different. Have got different taste. So all of them are good. Soya milk is good. Almond milk is good. Rice milk is good. Oat milk is good. But people will just determine what they want according to their taste. But all of them, they are good. But what I have to continue to say, at the end of the day, they are still processed food. You can't find them in nature. So all the processed food, all the food made by human beings, you need to take it moderately. You don't have to have that in excess.
And when someone is wanting to switch from the foods that are readily available in the market to things that are vegan options like vegan ice cream, vegan milk, vegan cheese, I'm sure you can appreciate that it's a lot more expensive. Having vegan cheese is not something that is as accessible as having regular dairy cheese. So what's your take on that? The price difference, the cost?
Yeah, so what I would like to say to people when they say that, oh, it's so expensive to eat a vegan diet and stuff, what I always tell them is that, first of all, your health is the most important thing that you have. Your body, when you are born on this earth, the most important thing that you have, it's your body, it's your temple, and you've only got one. So you need to really make sure that your health is paramount. So what I've noticed is that a lot of people who say that, oh, it's expensive to eat a vegan diet, but every year they can upgrade their iPhone, they can have new iPhones, They can have big TVs. They can upgrade their cars. They can have all these things. But when it comes to it, then it becomes too expensive. And I just don't understand that. You need to see what is your priority. For example, iPhone can cost 1,500 US dollars easily. And with that kind of money, you can really buy all this organic food. You can buy all this good food. So people need to really look at their priorities, because what's the point of being sick and having an iPhone, having a nice car, having a big house? What's the point? There's no point of that if you're in and out of hospital.
Yeah.
So if you want really to enjoy all these things, you need to have good health, optimal health. And the best way to have optimal health is to prioritize what you eat. Your food, good food should be more important than your iPhone. It should be more important than even a big house. It should be more important than all these things. So people can still find the money if they want. It's just that for them, food is not important. And that they found a reason to say, oh, it's expensive, I will continue to eat the wrong food. And what people need to understand as well is that when you start eating the wrong food, it's going to make you sick. But when you buy the vegan food or the plant-based nutrition food, yes, it's more expensive, but in the long run, it's going to save you a lot of money. It's going to save you money if you are sick. It's going to save you money if you have to buy medication. It's going to save you money if you have to go through very expensive operations. So at the end of the day, it's still going to save you a lot of money.
And now I want to ask you specifically about the weight loss aspect, and how does changing from a meat diet to a vegan diet help in reducing weight?
Yeah, so for example, if you look at the animal product, all of them, they've got like meat, fish, chicken, they've got saturated fat, which will make you put on weight. And all these saturated, they've got a lot of protein as well, which means that all this protein will not be available. The body will not use all this protein straight away. The body will have to take all this protein and stock them as fat. And as well, you will see that in this animal product, so they've got a lot of saturated fat. The body will keep them as fat because the protein, and as well the body will the animal product, they are calorie dense. They've got too much calories, and you can understand that if you don't spend you take too much calories and you don't spend them, then you will put on weight. This is something. You look at the dairy product as well. They've got saturated fat. They've got they are calorie dense, and they've got the lactose, which is a kind of sugar. And all this will make you put on weight. You look at the processed food. They've got, they're high in fat, they are high in sugar, they are high in salt, and they are calorie dense. So all this group of food will make you put on weight. But on the contrary, when you look at fruit, vegetables, legumes, grain, nuts, and seed, they've got a very less calories. So you can eat them as much as you want. It's difficult for them to put, for you to put on weight by just eating those foods. And like I was saying before, this food have got lots of fiber, which will make you full very quickly. You will tend to eat less frequently, and what will happen? You will lose weight. That's how you lose weight on a plant-based nutrition. And when you look, for example, for me, my weight was 100 kilos. Today it's 65, so I've lost 35 kilos. And for the past 8 years, I've not put on weight because I'm eating all the right food, the food biologically designed for the human mechanism. And it's exactly the same. For example, if you look at all the animals who live in the forest, they eat the specific diet. And you can see in the forest, there's no overweight animals. You don't see them. But when you look at dogs, at cats, we feed them the wrong food, you can see that they're overweight.
I think it's time to go vegan. Okay, so is there anything else you'd like to share with us today, Olivier?
Yeah, so what I would like to say to people, first of all, I would like to add that people, if they can also incorporate intermittent fasting, because intermittent fasting is very, very important. When you look at the way we have grown up in the society, we've been told that we need to eat constantly. Constantly, they ask people to eat. And this is wrong, because when you look at, there are some people who will even have 5, 6, 7 meals in a day, and that's not right. Because every time when you have something to eat, your body will produce insulin. And what will happen is that you will have peaks of insulin, and insulin will make what is called cellular aging. So you will start aging very quickly. So the more you have insulin in your system, the quicker you're going to age, and obviously the quicker you're going to die. And what's happening as well is that when you are constantly eating, the body will not be able to produce what is called the human growth hormone. And the human growth hormone is responsible for growing your tissues. It's very important. And unfortunately, the body cannot produce insulin and the human growth hormone at the same time. It's one of the other. So if you are constantly eating, basically the body will not be able to produce the human growth hormone. And as well, when you are always digesting food, the body will not be able to do the cleansing and healing process. It's like, for example, if you've got your car, you bring it to the garage, you can't drive it at the same time. So the body cannot do the healing and cleansing when it's digesting food. And as well, when you go through you do intermittent fasting, the body will go through a process which is called autophagy, which is a process where it eats its own waste. So really, it's important for people to put intermittent fasting and not to eat constantly. So that's what I wanted to add as well.
Okay, that's great. That's been very helpful, very helpful tips for all of us. And I'm going to try and incorporate them in my own personal life and see how I feel differently in terms of energy levels and weight and functioning.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Yeah, that's very
Olivier.
good if you can do that.
Thank you, Olivier. It's been great having you today. And stay tuned for our next episode, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
Okay, thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.